Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and today we're going to be looking at the brand new Marvel Comics NFTs. Before we get started though, make sure you hit that subscribe button down in the bottom corner. I do appreciate it. Put out regular content about the hobbies I love the most. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. For those of you guys who may not know what NFT even stands for, it stands for a non-fungible token. So crystal clear, right? Basically what non-fungible means is that it cannot be directly replaced with something else. So for example, if you have, and we'll be talking about cryptocurrency a lot in this particular video, so if you have Bitcoin, you can exchange it for another Bitcoin and it would be the exact same value. There would be no loss. These when you talk about an NFT, they are unique, more or less, and we'll kind of talk about that in the video here, but each one of those is unique and therefore could not be traded exactly for something else like it. We're going to kind of talk about a variety of different things. One, specifically what they are and what's coming out. Two, we're going to be looking at kind of my thoughts on NFTs as a whole and kind of the pros and cons of this particular setup for Marvel going forward. So the 3 issues that they are releasing, and at the time of this video, 2 have already been released. They have Marvel Comics #1, Journey into Mystery #85, and Fantastic Four #1. As I said, the first 2 have already gone live. I know Marvel Comics #1 sold out, I think within like 20 minutes. I would imagine by the time this post, the Journey into Mystery will also have been sold out. So Fantastic Four #1, if you are interested, goes live tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And so the way they're doing this in like a blind bag type fashion. So you will pay $6.99 to get one of the covers that they have for the book. Each one of those covers has a different rarity. They have a common, which is just the classic cover for the book, an uncommon, which is a vintage variant, a rare version, which is a hero variant, ultra rare, vibranium variant, and secret rare, which is the true believer variant. So you spend $6.99, you'd open up your pack and you'd get one of these 5 versions of rarity. And then you can keep buying packs as long as you want. Now they are limited to the number of packs they have out. I don't know the exact numbers that they have on each of these, but that's kind of how it's a little bit different than your traditional NFTs, because while the code for each one of these is going to be unique, there's obviously going to be more than one copy of each of these issues that are going out. So you have a unique-ish, because they are limited, copy that you'd be able to read the full issue on. I don't know how much value you could actually put that on, because you can find most of these pretty easily available online or in trades at this point. They're not rare in that sense as far as to get the interior content, and you would basically have access to show off this cover, whatever cover that you had inside your account on this this platform. So for a lot of people out there, you are probably asking at this point in time, why would anybody do this? There's a lot of speculation that's going out as far as this kind of being a transitioning phase in artwork and social media, and how we move forward from there. The logic is, hey, a lot of the stuff that we collect as owners anyways, we just take pictures of our phones and we can show those off anyways, and this kind of just cuts out that middle ground and just puts it on the phone so it's there, and then you can show it, you can trade it from that platform or sell it from that platform. So you're seeing all these articles that are going out about pet rocks, a picture of a pixelated pet rock selling for $43,000, and there's 6-figure and 7-figure sales that are going up on all these NFTs, and people are kind of buying into this hype, and they've already had kind of one bubble burst from it, but you keep seeing these high sales, and people talking about the cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. So there's a lot of confusion that's going in there. Without diving too deep, a lot of that stems from the fact that the NFTs that you see hitting these highs are really truly unique NFTs. There are a lot of companies that are just putting out NFTs now to put out NFTs. There are sports cards, there are Marvel cards, there are Marvel comic books, there are statues that I don't even understand that one personally, but that are basically just a picture of a statue that is on this. And what you run into with these is the only really thing that separates these from copies or clones or duplicates on the internet is that bragging right, that sense of ownership that you can say, hey, this is mine, I own this. Yes, you have the exact same image or the exact same, clip art or the exact same whatever on your phone or on your computer. I'm like, but I own it. And that's where you're kind of getting the separation from people who don't really understand what's going on with it. Like, well, I have it now too without paying, the ridiculous sum of money, versus the people who are like, yes, but I own it. And that ownership that stems. So it's a big reason why I am not a huge fan of this direction for Marvel. Now, it's whatever. It's $7 if you can get one at cost. You get to read the book, you get to own the book, you get maybe a cool cover for the book. It's not a big deal. What we're waiting to see is what those look like 3 months from now. Are people going to start asking ridiculous sums of money for them? Is there going to be any kind of market out of it? And I don't think there will be. Again, we've already established these aren't unique. They may be limited, but they are not unique. So there's not going to be that one copy and one copy only that really will drive competition to really start paying high premiums for them. Second is even if it were unique, it's not something that is new. It's not I can go buy these comics, albeit they're very expensive, but I can buy the actual physical versions of these comics. I can go buy the trades of these comics, or I can just get online and pay for digital copies that are not exclusive like these are, and read them and partake them and save them on my computer. So you really don't have anything super unique about this product that is coming out. So I don't see a whole lot of growth potential the way they currently have it set up. Which brings us kind of to the larger question: is this kind of the way the market's going to move? And I tend to disagree. We've been talking about comics going digital for a very long time, and it's really been a push. And I know comic book companies would love to do it because of the cost of printing is much higher, and distribution and shipping and all that stuff, versus just here the book is online, pay us a premium and you'll have access to it when it goes online. The problem comes into we as humans and individuals like stuff. And a lot of the stuff, especially on the collectible stuff, comes from exclusivity. That exclusivity is what drives up demand and lowers supply. When you talk about Pokemon cards or comic books, or really any kind of collectible out there, the number of them that are in existence plays a huge part of how valuable they are. If there are only 1,000 of them in existence and there are 15,000 people that would love to get it, that's going to drive that up. When you further push that to the fact that condition may make it even more exclusive, for example, Canto number 1 is a prime example. There were it's a modern book, but a lot of the first print run was basically torn up in shipping or in the printing press, but they had creases on the book that really made it hard to get that 9.8. So a 9.8 for that first print is much more rare than it would normally be on a modern book. So that would decrease the supply of those higher grade copies. Now when you get into NFTs, especially non-unique NFTs, that's not going to be an issue. Every person who got a copy of Marvel Comics number 1 is in gem mint condition. It is in a 10 out of 10 condition. 100 years from now, if they still exist, they will be in perfect condition. They won't get lost in a flood. They won't get lost in a house fire. The dog won't chew it up. The baby won't fold it in half and spit up on it. It won't get lost in the mail. Like, the things that make collectibles over time more rare just aren't really the same things that happen with NFTs. Now, we're not really seeing that yet because NFTs haven't been around long enough to kind of see that natural deterioration. There's some stuff, just like with anything else. Lost comic books, put in storage forever, family member dies and they get lost and forgotten about. Like, that stuff's going to happen with both. You're going to have the person who, buys this on this platform, completely forgets about it, deletes it from their phone, and it's just lost in the history. There's going to be some degradation, or forget their password to some of the platforms, as we know has happened. So there will be some of these that come out of circulation, but the thing that will never happen is 100% of the ones that are still in circulation will be in mint condition. There won't be any centering issues. There won't be any staples rusting. There won't be any humidity issues. There won't be any light damage. So these things will not become rare to the extent that your other collectibles will. Why companies like CGC and PSA and BGS are getting so big right now is because they're able to kind of preserve that condition. Yes, getting a professional grade on a book, matters for a lot of people, but a big reason why a lot of collectors are moving there, a lot of this stuff is going into their personal collection, and for them to have these things preserved in the condition that they currently are in is worth the cost of sending these off to get them sealed. And you're not going to have to deal with that kind of stuff with this thing. They just will never degrade. And again, it comes back to that ownership and possession thing. So if everything was equal, and these things did degrade with time somehow, you still have that want to hold things in your hand. As we mentioned before, you have these things on your phone. Everybody's showing off the pictures on their phone anyway, so let's just cut out the middleman. Well, I have a lot of pictures of my kids on my phone too. I still want my real kids here. You have that desire to hold it, to feel it, to decorate with it. There's no way to decorate with an NFT. There's no way to, display what you've collected. There's no way to just kind of be surrounded by it. When I walk into my office here, I'm surrounded by the hobbies that I love. Versus on an NFT, I just open up the app and just start scrolling through it. There's no taste, there's no smell, there's no feel that's associated with it. And I really think that's something that's important. Two things for the long-term collectability of demand. Not that the supply isn't going to be super limited on these. I think the supply is where NFTs can really manipulate their value in the market. Obviously, being a one of one, and there being any kind of demand for it will increase the price for it. But when it comes to how do you really generate a huge demand for something like an NFT, I think that's where it will always fall short compared to real physical assets, as far as in your comics and your collectibles. And unless there's a creative way that they can compensate for that. I know Nike, I think, is doing some stuff with theirs that are tied physically to real products that they have. So I could see maybe NFTs emerging in a market like that where there is some exclusivity. I've seen some stuff where they've got either games where your NFTs can be ported into those games and have impacts in those games, either original artwork inside of it, you can decorate with it, possibly even play with it inside the game. Stuff like that can help drive the demand number up. But for now, I know, again, if this is something you enjoy, absolutely $6.99 is not going to bust the bank. But when you're talking about long-term prospects, about if these things are going to be what you're retiring off 100 years from now, I just don't see the cards or the comics that are coming out of these major companies like Marvel and DC and Topps. I don't ever really see them being that next level of value because the demand just isn't as high as the supply is going to be long term. 50 years from now, I just don't see anybody going, hey, I want you to sell me the picture of Marvel Comics #1 that you own on your phone or whatever we're using 50 years from now so that I can have it on mine. Just not there. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section below. If you picked any of these up and you really just think they're a great steal, let me know too. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that notifications bell. Sorry, wrong point. But until next time, Hobby Hero out.